Hi, everyone. Welcome to another side of this podcast. I'm your host, Lachelle Corley. I thank you so much for tuning in. We definitely have a real, relatable, and relevant conversation awaiting you. Our topic for today is embracing the holiday season with clarity and dignity. Now, as you know, if you've seen a few of my podcasts, I always like to provide some data on the topic because I believe that helps to bring out the significance of what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to dive right in. So, according to the American Psychological Association, they completed an article on November 30th of 2023, and it's titled, Even a Joyous Holiday Season Can Cause Stress for Most Americans. Okay. And so what they found was 10 of the most common sources of holiday stress. And I'd like to share that with you. So the first was spending too much or not having enough money. 58% of people said that led to a lot of stress. Finding the right gift was 40% of stress. Missing family or loved ones was 38%. Feeling pressured to make the holidays special was 30%. Not being able to spend time or be with family or loved ones was 25%. And experiencing or anticipating a family conflict, was 22%. Feeling left out or excluded was 20%. And
Mm.
last but not least, travel. And the way things are going right now, that it's 19% on this paper, but I'm pretty sure it's a lot higher. So um, I look forward to um, hearing some more insight from our special guests on some of these topics and more. So let me not delay this any further. I would like to introduce to you all our special guest, Sherrie Campbell. Welcome, Sherrie.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you for being here. And before you and I go any further, I would like to tell my audience a little bit about you. And let me correct that. I'm gonna say Dr. Sherrie Campbell. There we go.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
Dr. Campbell is a licensed clinical psychologist. She specializes in helping healthy people cut ties with toxic people in their lives. She is a nationally recognized expert on family estrangement and also a best-selling author. She's a TEDx speaker, a top 1% podcast host, of the Sherrie Sher Shrep. How say it? Your podcast.
Therapy, like therapy, but
Therapy. Got
therapy.
it. Therapy sessions. That's like a tongue tie.
Yeah.
And she's also a well-known social media influencer and a regularly featured media expert. So again, welcome, Dr. Campbell.
Thank you, Lachelle. I'm looking forward to our conversation. I appreciate you having me on.
Yes, and thank you for being here. So let's dive in.
Yeah.
Okay, so my first question to you is, what motivates you to do the work that you do?
I think I just wanted to turn my predators into a purpose so that I could make my pain meaningful and also hopefully helpful for others. And that has just proven to be such a beautiful experience and choice for me to make. I didn't really have any idea the influence I would have. I didn't ever anticipate it would be what it is. So I'm always very grateful and very humbled by it. But yeah, I came from a tremendous amount of trauma and lived many years of my life feeling very, very lost and hopeless, decades, in fact. And I ended up cutting ties with my family 10 years ago, and it's been an incredible 10 years. I've written 7 books. I've been on the TEDx stage. I've been everywhere. So it's just been really special. And I've developed a really incredible community of very brave-hearted people facing societal judgments and misunderstandings around no contact and estrangement. I'm the first expert to put no contact into the literature. I'm not the first person by any measure to write about it, but I'm the first one to put it into the literature as an option for family.
Yeah. Well, I thank you for just your courage to tell your story and then also the impact because a lot of people topic of family estrangement.
Yes.
Um, this type of dynamic is in every family in some way. Okay,
Yes, it
so
is. Whether people want to admit it or not, it is there.
it is. It's in every family. And so for those who want to sweep it under the rug, you know it's under the rug,
It is
right?
under. They're going to
So
bite your toes.
yeah, yeah. So again, I thank you for just allowing your story to have you here today and continue impacting people across the world, the nation. So thank you.
You're so
Um,
welcome.
my next question is, um, for a variety of reasons, the holidays can create stress for people. From your professional experience, what are some of the common concerns that people have this time of year?
I think finances are tough. I think equality is tough. Like in your family, um, are you the one who does all the effort? Are you the one that has to do all the cooking, all the traveling, all the planning? Um, or are you going to go somewhere and you're going to be welcomed for the photo op, but no one's going to talk to you when you're there? Like, what's going to
Mm,
happen? What dynamics are going to be there? In my personal family dynamic, I dreaded going home because it was such a hate-filled, gossip-filled scenario that I just knew something was going to go down. I was going to be on eggshells and I would never really know what way it was going to go or who was going to be the one that was going to, be the problem or where the gossip was going to go. So I just dreaded all of it all the time because it caused me, my blood pressure would just increase at the thought of having to spend time with those I should be closest with. I think too, a lot of families get together for optics, maybe not
mhm,
presence, true presence, authentic presence, where you're wanting to love your family members and really give to them and cherish them on the holidays. It's like a bunch of bodies are in the room, but you don't feel like you're any closer than strangers. I mean, there's so many different things. There could be high conflict families, low effort families, which is my viral series out right now. Um, but it's hard because you're not walking into love very often for many of us. You're walking into chaos and a lack of peace and backstabbing and cruel games. And it can be so stressful. You have to like really be like, okay, I got this, I can go do this. And then do you have to, or how can you show up? In what ways can you show up where there's maybe a balance where you have some cordial contact with these people? Maybe you show up a little later. Maybe you distract yourself with chores to stay out of gossip. Maybe you leave a little early. There's little plans I think you can have for the holidays where you can, deal with going, but not being, being more self-protective because guilt is probably the big thing that drives people, guilt and obligation rather than want and desire around the holidays.
yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. We're kind of, I'm glad like you're right on target. Because that's one of the questions I have for you. My next question is, I noticed that the heart of your work is about toxic people.
Mhm.
How did you come to understand the difference between a toxic person versus a healthy, flawed person?
So we all have our flaws, right? None of us are perfect. And but when you have to give so much leeway and constantly be in a space of giving someone the benefit of the doubt and you're ignoring your nervous system, you're ignoring what your body's telling you. When someone is really toxic or character disordered, you feel it in your body. You get sick. Like you get nervous, your blood pressure increases, you're getting slights put at you that aren't funny, but they're trying to joke down, but it's a cut down, it's public, you can't really confront. A healthy person just wouldn't do that. If someone healthy said something in public that hurt your feelings, you could say to that person, that was really embarrassing for me when you said that. And they'd be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I did not see it that way, but I get it. And I won't do it again. Do the same thing with the toxic person. I'm like, oh my God, you are so dramatic. I can't say anything around you. Sorry, I was trying to be funny. Like, you don't get repair. you get further humiliation. Those are kind of a one example of what that might look like, how to tell the difference.
Yeah, and I can hear like the dismissiveness from the toxic person.
Oh,
They're more
yes.
dismissive, minimizing of the incident, and the shifting of it back onto you. Like, how dare you even
Yeah,
make
they
this a
look down
problem?
their nose at you like, how could you think that about me? And it's like, I didn't think that about you. You did that thing
Yeah.
that I'm thinking. I'm not insane. So they gaslight, but they're very glib. They just look down their nose at you like you're nothing. And that's how they get away from accountability. So when you're with a toxic person, you're always in fear. You're always in fear. There's some level of like, when is the shoe going to drop? You don't feel safe. And it's your body telling you. And it might not even be that they're overtly doing anything every moment. It's that you know it's about to come because you don't know what's
Mhm.
going to set them off. So you get into this space of like, just don't rock the boat. That's not how we should be. That's anti-health, right? That's not how we should feel around someone else. If our body's telling us that's how we feel, this is not a safe person for us. This is someone we should create some distance from.
Um, Another question I had was, so I have all three of your books.
Oh, I love you, Michelle.
Yeah,
Thank
I have
you.
I have all three of them. I would show it, but I have all three of the books propping up my mic.
I so appreciate you. Thank you.
So, but I noticed there's a word that you had that I found was interesting, and it was the hoovering. So my next question is, what
Yes.
is hoovering, and how can individuals recognize and navigate hoovering tactics, so they can have an enjoyable holiday?
So hoovering, y'all have heard of the Hoover vacuum cleaner, right?
Yeah.
So what they do is they idealize you. So let's say they want you to come to the holiday, so they love bomb you. Oh, if you come, we're going to do this, we'll do that. It's going to be so fun, blah, blah, blah. They love bomb. You agree. Then after idealizing is devaluing. You get there and it's flat. It's not fun. You're not doing the things that they said. So then if you make a comment, then it's idealized, devalue, discard. They just discard you. Like whatever. They dismiss you. Like, how dare you call me on being responsible to following through on the fun things I said we'd do. So then you get discarded. And so they create a distance. And then what they do is they're not getting attention from you or any more reactions. So they suck you back in and they idealize you. So the hoovering is the sucking you back in. Okay, so that they can idealize, devalue, discard, hoover you back in. The problem is that every time you fall for it and every time you fall down that ladder, you are more and more lost to yourself every
Mhm.
time. It just is emotionally eroding away at you because you are now knowing that it might happen again, and but you have guilt. Hoovering is they use a lot of guilt to hoover to suck you back in, right? Oh, so you're not forgiving. You can't forgive me. You're going to hold a grudge. And now you're like, oh my God, I'm not an unforgiving, grudge holding person. So you allow yourself to get sucked back in, but it's a trap. It's all traps. And you just lose yourself because every time you say yes, it's self abandonment. You're going against what's bad for you to assuage guilt that you shouldn't be feeling anyway, or to prove to them that you're not holding a grudge. They already know that, but they don't let us know they know that. And then we fall for this shit and we lose ourselves over and over and over. And it's just heartbreaking to go through. Hoovering is
Yeah.
so compelling.
Yeah, and the other thing too is the compelling you through gifts, because it's the holiday season. So
Love
it's,
bomb. Love
I'm gonna buy
bomb.
you gifts. I'm gonna do all this stuff for you just to bring you back into my good graces, to
That's
make you
right.
feel like you're back into my good graces. Yeah.
Yeah, somehow we always have to earn our way in, but they don't have to do anything healthy to keep us.
Mm,
So, like, that is such an unfair dynamic that why do we have to earn our way in? And it depends on who the person is, but whoever it is, your parent, sibling, whatever, they hold some type of superiority over you, whether in age or in their mind. And you know, people who people who are sensitive, beautifully, healthfully sensitive, really care about giving the benefit of the doubt. We really want to be loving people. They prey on that. They take that good-hearted intent and they prey on it.
Mhm.
And then we have to learn that we can't give that to them. And when we learn that, they're like, how dare you not give that? What are you, a bad person now? You
Right.
can't even
You're
match their,
punishing me,
yes, you're punishing
right?
me.
You're
Um,
punishing me.
if
Mhm.
you match their effort, let's say they're very low effort, and you decide this isn't worth all of me being high effort to their low effort. If you match their effort, do to them exactly what they're doing to you, you're the bad guy. It's nonsensical.
Yeah.
And they count on it being nonsensical.
My other question is, what are three hard truths that people need to acknowledge when they practice blind willfulness, or going along to get along? Because that's what blind willfulness is. It's going along to get along. Like, what are the three hard truths that go along with going along to get along during the holiday season? And then I have a second part to that question.
Okay, so the first three hard truths is most people who go along to get along are in fear.
Mm,
So, what might seem like gang up warfare, if you're someone who can only adhere to truth and you can't go along to get along, or you try and you can't, that is a sign that you're going to adhere to truth, right? So anyone who's going to go against truth to go along to get along, they're very weak-minded people. And if you want to have compassion for them, that is fine because ultimately they don't want to happen to them what's happening to you. They see that they can scapegoat someone else so hardcore. They don't want that to happen, so it's easier to go along to get along. You also, another hard truth, you cannot convince any of, I call them lieutenants or flying monkeys. You cannot convince any of these outside parties that they shouldn't go along to get along. It's easier to take the side that scares them the most.
mhm.
Okay. And another hard truth is if you can't go along to get along, then you have to accept that you're going to be ostracized. And you have to decide what's better for you. Is for me at the end, I didn't care. My mom used to call me a monster. I got to the point I was like, so if I agree that I'm a monster, like, would you go away? Because if that would work, then I will happily take on, zip up the costume and say I'm a monster. Because at that point, what they thought of me I didn't even care. Trying to stay connected to them came at such a great cost to my spirit that I was willing to be the lie that they said, at least to them. If that's what they needed, like, okay, so, okay, fine, you're right, I'm a monster. But you know what they do with that? They'll go, I wasn't trying to be right. Oh my God. Okay. It's like one trap after another. So with blind willfulness, we're just dealing with people that don't want conflict with your family.
Yeah.
And they
So it's the
sacrifice you to not have the
mhm,
conflict.
yeah. And so it's the that again, that's that sweeping it under the rug, and it creates the atmosphere of silence, right? Where we don't
Yes.
talk about this, we just pretend that, things are all happy go lucky
Yep.
because it's the holiday.
That's right. Got to be
And we
performative for the optics
and
and
we
the
have to
photos.
perform. And we have to perform and take some photos.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, what are some better options? So you kind of touched on it some, but what are some better options for people who don't want to go along to get along?
So let's talk about gray rocking, which is essentially gaslighting the gaslighter. Gray rocking is going into any social situation with toxic family members, and the goal from strategy is to become the most boring gray rock in the pile. So when conversations come to you and they're digging for gossip, let's say, or you have no idea what the conversation, just gray rock, make everything very flat. Oh, things are great. Deflect back. But how are you? They love to talk about themselves. You'll get a whole monologue. But because you know you're gray rocking and not people pleasing, it puts you in a spirit of power. Sometimes, like no contact might look like the silent treatment to certain people, but they're fundamentally different. No contact is forever. It's not a game. It's not even about them. It's about protecting you, trying to find peace in your life. And if these people cannot, if one call from my mom could take me down for 3 weeks,
Mm.
a 10-minute phone call could get me so wound up that I'd be depressed for 3 weeks, right? So it's not healthy for me. The silent treatment and no contact are both quiet, but one is to get you, it's a hoovering technique. If you are silencing someone, that person's going to naturally want to close the gap, right? Somehow they make their absence even more powerful than their presence, right? Which is so painful because we're like, what happened? I want to fix it. So going into the holidays, gray rocking might look like people pleasing, but if you know that you're gray rocking and you're doing it as a way to have boundaries without directly setting them, it's never letting anyone get you into a conversation deeper than you want to go and you rerouting the conversation back onto them and they leave feeling heard, they got themselves some narcissistic supply, and then you get out of all of those conversations. Another strategy that you can use is your body. So I would say, like, if there's a specific family member that you know is going to be there, you really don't want to be around, okay? Because there's a person in not my family, but my boyfriend's family that I struggle with. So I gray rock her all the time, and I don't let her get my eyes. So if she is in a room, I will make sure that I face my body, either my back to her or she gets my hip and my shoulder. If I see her coming toward me, I turn my body, I give her a hip and a shoulders. I feel her getting closer. I just turn my back and walk away like I don't even know she's there. She never gets me and she doesn't know that she's never getting me. Okay, because I just have a way of moving my body through the world that I just have my eye on her and I just don't let her get me. Now, sometimes they might actually come up and just be invasive and tap you. Turn around, smile, gray rock, get out. Find a reason. I got to go to the bathroom. It was so nice talking to you. Oh, I'm going to go help Sally with the dishes. Like, whatever, get out.
Yeah.
So, those are a couple of
Yeah.
strategies to do. Show up late, leave early, make an appearance, sort of, so to speak, but have other plans if you can. I'm going to go meet someone else somewhere else. There's lots of ways you can do it that are cordial, that keep you dialed into being the good person you are, but also with some protection.
Yeah, and that's something I was gonna lean. I'm gonna lean into your last statement a little bit. It's important that you be yourself
Yes,
and you don't allow what's in someone else to dim or to dim what's in you, to dim you. People can distort, people can do all kinds of
sure.
things. Let them, but you stay true to yourself. And I also tell my clients that I work with, if you see a person that, is doing a silent treatment, sometimes I would tell them, walk up to them and say hi. Say hi and turn and walk away. Because if that's in you to be someone that speaks, like if you're a person that speaks to people, then
Yep.
speak. Don't allow someone to silence your voice because they are behaving as they choose to behave. So be yourself, be who
My
you
motto
are.
is be someone that you can like
Yeah,
around the people that you don't, right? It's like
that's well said.
be someone that you can like around the people that you don't. Be
Yeah,
classy. Go in and be high level, and not everybody deserves access to all parts of who you are.
Yeah.
Give them the social parts of you that this social situation would require nothing more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let them touch
And
the
it's not,
light.
yeah, and it's nothing wrong. Sometimes when you're in these dynamics, you're speaking to the person's humanity.
Yes,
You're not speaking to the character, because if you spoke to the character, you wouldn't speak, right?
that's
So you're
right.
acknowledging their humanity. So you don't have to be cold. You don't have to do
Mm-mm.
the manipulative silent treatment tactic. You don't have to
No,
do
no,
that.
no, no.
Keep your heart, because that makes your heart can get hardened when you do that whole silent treatment thing, and so
And the
be you.
silent treatment doesn't work. I mean, it's really abusive. Cancel culture is
Yeah.
very abusive. People don't understand the difference between those two. No contact. No contact is I really still love my family, but I don't like them and I don't respect them and I can't trust them. I don't have anyone in my life that I can't like because I can't trust and I don't respect. So it's like there's an electrical current between me and my family. I'll always be connected to them. But there's just the switch is off. There's no electricity, right? But
Mhm.
that's not for a game. It's not a strategy for wanting anything more from them. It
Mhm.
has been shut off because any part of it is so poisonous for me that I can't
Yeah.
even take one drip of that poison. I think it's just sometimes better to be free, and I can love them at a great distance and still not want them in my life, not want them to touch any part of my light or my love or who I am, because I have 45 years of understanding of being in that family, trying my hardest to know that now they don't deserve any access. So I would never be invited to a holiday thing and I would never want to be.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know that's really tough for some people to understand, but not all parents love their children. They just don't. And that is my message, right? So as an adult, I have a right to decide who is in my life. And now I can be fully expressed in so many other areas with so many people, my family, my chosen family that I love. And I don't have to worry about that. Not everybody is in my position, right? And I totally understand that. So these strategies are really helpful and they're really important because you should always really work to be someone you can like around the people that you don't. And that does not mean you people please. It does not mean you overcompensate or you overfunction. It's go in, be classy, be cordial, and keep it short.
Yeah. And the other thing is too, like what you're saying, you want to be able to look back on whatever encounter it is and feel good about yourself. Like, you know what?
You
Hey,
go,
I feel
girl.
great.
Yes, like you
Yeah, I
mastered
feel
that.
great. I'm
Yes.
and it's like sometimes these experiences are a teacher of what not to do, how not to treat people, how not to be,
Yeah.
because nothing good comes from it. Nothing good comes
No,
from
and let's put this out there because this is very common. Let's say that you fall into one of their traps and you lose your shit.
it. Yeah.
So what? You don't need to go home and punish the hell out of yourself because you had the natural reaction to an abnormal experience. That's another thing that survivors do is they go in, they're well intentioned, they're set, their therapist gave them direction, they're heading in, but then they encounter something unexpected that they could not have ever prepared for or predicted for. Welcome to toxic family. This is toxic family theater. Maybe it wasn't the exact perpetrator that you thought was going to do it. Maybe they sent a monkey over to you at the dinner, right? And you are in a position now where you have to stand up for yourself or you won't feel good about who you are, right? And now there's conflict and you leave.
Yeah. And
That
sometimes that
happens.
mhm.
So what? You have to look at you didn't act that way without a trigger, without a prompt, and they love to surprise attack. That stuff happens, and then who goes home feeling bad? The person who provoked you? No. They provoked your response. and then acted like you were the abuser. Let them. It's not going to change. You can go home and you could go back to therapy the next day and be like, okay, what could I have done differently? Repair for you, examine for you. I don't
Mhm.
like that I did it. I hate that I fed them the reaction that they wanted. I just want to freaking kill myself that I did that. I know better. Okay, there are times that you just, if the plane's going down, you're not going to be like, I'm so glad this plane's going down. I can't wait to crash. Like, you're going to fight for yourself. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Those things can happen. The trick is see, examine yourself, right? Do you really need to feel bad about the reaction? Did you tell the truth in your reaction? Was it healthy for you to leave? Do you owe anyone an apology? What got you triggered, right? Self-hating because you're human, love your own humanity too, because you will. I've been tripped up in so many situations I never could have predicted. I've been in therapy my whole life and I still couldn't have predicted because they're so masterful, right? Sometimes I've handled them brilliantly, and other times I beat myself up over how I handled it until I went back into therapy and I got to kind of take a different view of what I did. They want me to feel bad. They want me to feel like an abuser. They want me to feel dramatic. That's their whole goal, right? So if they're going to provoke you for it and you give it, it's still okay. It doesn't make you bad. It makes you human. Give yourself some grace. You got
Yeah.
trapped.
Thank you for that. My next question is, why is it important for people to focus on how they will feel and think about themselves after an interaction with a problematic person? I think you just answered this.
Yeah,
Um,
but I would even add that there's so much to learn.
yeah.
If you turn your predators to a purpose, you really get to know yourself. And, they created all these triggers into you. And I look at it as finding the source and finding the line, wherever that trigger goes. Once I can name it, I'm better at not reacting to it. We react to what we get overwhelmed. Like suddenly we cannot name what's happening, but we know it's bad. We know it's manipulative, but we don't exactly know why because we don't operate sinister like they do. So when you can see what caused the reaction and you can figure out where that burrowed in so deeply, why it was so visceral for you, do you know how much knowledge you get? It's all
Yes.
a gift. If you search for it, and now you can name, oh, she was being passive aggressive. Um, that makes me do blank. She was projecting. That made me feel blank. So it's learning how to find those triggers and name them. Once you name them, you get better at seeing it in real life when they're going on.
Yes, and the other thing is, I love what you said. Like every experience is a teaching experience, right?
Yes.
Every person is a teacher, and they're teaching you something. And so you could either run from the lesson or lean into it, right? And again, I believe that there is treasure in our pain. I'm a firm believer in that, and so there is treasure, in these experiences to build you, not break you, right? Um, so I think what you said was just well said, well said.
Thank you.
Um, what are some tips that you can use to stay grounded during these type of interactions?
When I, well, I wasn't real successful at that with my family, but I think I would be much stronger now in any situation. I've come a long way in getting away from the poison to understand probably what it would have been helpful for me. But when I'm in any triggering situation today, I remind myself to stay in my body. Because when we get overwhelmed, we get in our heads and we get out of the body and we start spiraling, right? So because you're in a situation at the holidays where you can't just take a bath or go on a run or write in your journal, like you're there, it's not even your house maybe, and you cannot do that. but you can't excuse yourself to the restroom.
Yeah.
And I would go to the restroom. I would have a little bit of self-talk. You might want to say, I got to run to the car and get something. And I would just talk to yourself, get back in your body and make a plan. How long do I have to stay? What do I need to do to feel grounded here? Those are some simple things you can do, but really, if you're in your head, you want to stay out of your mouth. Okay. My big saying in my following is shut your mouth and use your feet. So if you get overwhelmed and someone is overwhelming you, shut your mouth, take your feet, let them move you to a different place in the room. Now avoid that person. Don't give them the silent treatment. Just know to stay away from this particular person who seems to be in the mood to manipulate, right? But if you're in your head, you want to stay out of your mouth because your mouth is going to be spouting off some stuff that you're going to regret later, right? If
Yeah.
so, use your feet, not your mouth. Just get away from the person. Excuse yourself to go to the bathroom. Say you've got to run to your car, get yourself grounded, make a plan. I'm going to stay away from this person and use the body tricks that I gave
Yeah.
for the rest of that
And
night.
and just to add to that, getting you some ice. Get you some ice.
Anything.
Um, eat you some ice. Eat you some ice. Get ice, put it in a paper towel, rub it on your wrist or something like that to cool
That's right.
yourself off,
Some people use like a rubber band and
rubber
they kind of
band
snap
on your
themselves.
wrist and pop, pop. There
And
you go. I'm doing
just
it.
breathe
Pop.
because yes, when we get activated, we don't realize this, but we pant. And for the brain to think rational, we need oxygen. When we're mad, we're like, we don't realize it, but we're taking short, shallow breaths. We're not even getting enough oxygen to be rational. So, what we want to do is just get away, snap, ice, breathe, go wash your hands, put it on your face, whatever you need to do,
Cool down.
step outside. If we
Yeah.
change our physiology, it's we're kind of quicker to get back in our body and out of our mouth and out of our head,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. My next question is, what advice would you give to someone who is estranged? I always say that word weirdly. Estranged from relatives during the holiday season.
I what I do, because that's my experience, that's my lived experience for the past 10 years. It is really lonely and really, really hard at first. There were years that I didn't get gifts. Um, and then I felt strange around my boyfriend's family because I didn't have that and I didn't, they're like I love them to death, but I'm very different than they are. So I could just feel they weren't my family, so to speak. It's not that there's any, I love them to death, but you have a feeling of your family and no one can really come in and be your family for your family. So I had to just really learn to create new traditions for myself and my daughter. And I needed to learn that I could have a sadness that traveled with me because two opposing things can coexist. I
Yes.
needed to know that the sadness was going to be there and that I didn't have to get rid of that sadness. I could also be creative and have new experiences and enjoy my day and enjoy my daughter while carrying and traveling with a hole in my life, right? And then I would feel sad for my daughter as well because she didn't have grandparents. So we've created some really special traditions. It took me 4 of the 6 years of no contact to really come around to being okay on the holidays and now I don't even think about them. Um, they don't cross my mind in that way at all anymore, which is really lovely. I didn't know that could actually happen, that I could get to a place where I didn't feel that way. I'm far more comfortable around my boyfriend's family at this point. My first 4 years were really hard, and I want that to be very real to people. It wasn't 4 months, it was 4 years. It's really hard to undo everything you've ever known and create a new life all alone and not feel alone. So I would also say that I had to learn that I wasn't by myself, that I was with myself. And that being with me gave me someone to be with. And I had to really learn to become someone that I could love and like so I could live with me and like me and enjoy all the holidays. So I hope that makes sense, but that's what I really recommend.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely makes sense. And just to add to that, something I say to my clients, um, and something I even say to myself, we haven't met all the people
That's
that
right.
will love us and treat us well. You
That's
haven't
right.
met them all. This
Yeah.
is a small portion of people that you've encountered, but there's a world out there, right?
Yeah.
Of people that are waiting to meet you, to appreciate you, and look forward to genuinely embracing you and bringing you into a fold, you know? So if you are estranged, again, I love what you said. There is a grief component to it. But I love what you said too. Two things can coexist. You can feel a level of grief, but also you can have joy at the same time because you can find people that fill in that gap. You know,
You
a
can.
lot of people tap into their friendships.
That's right.
Um, and another thing I always like to say, you have genetic people who are genetically connected to you. They're called relatives, and then
That's
you
right.
have family, and family are the people you choose, and sometimes that looks like some friends. So
Sometimes
I
that is
want
your
to,
friends, right? And
yeah,
also, no one can fill the hole that your family leaves. I
yeah,
would really ask you to not try to put other people in that hole. Have the hole because
yeah,
you're just going to get let down. It's a really unrealistic expectation to expect anyone to come in and fill the role of mom, dad, sibling, or whatever other family members you've got. The hole is the hole. You're going to be grieving the living dead for your life. That is okay. But you can still you are going to be more loved that by people who want to see you than people who want to own you and control you. I always think that, DNA should mean do not abuse.
oh, you need to put that on a shirt.
It was on my TED Talk. So
Oh wow, I like
DNA
that.
should mean do not abuse. We should not be doing
Yeah.
that, but that's what happens, family or versus relatives. Um, Fundamentally, we need the child needs parents. It's just fundamental to life's experience.
Yeah.
So when you are estranged from families or siblings, your nuclear family, it's okay if you grieve them, right? You're never in my new book that's coming out in April called You Are Home. I talk about like you're never going backward, you're going inward. You have another opportunity to go inward. So, whatever pain you're having on the holidays, take a moment at night before bed, write it out in your journal. What was missing for you? What were you feeling? Why do you think you were feeling that way? What self doubts maybe creeped in? Did you feel any guilt? You know what? Sometimes now I feel relief. I'm so grateful
Yeah.
that I was self-respecting and love enough after self-abandoning for 45 years that I enjoy all of my days at this point. That I got there is a place I never thought I'd get. Now, I didn't think I'd have to do what I had to do to get there, but I actually have it a little bit easy because they cut me off and I just didn't mend the fence. And that was my job. They would give me the silent treatment and I'd have to fill the gap. Well, they were silly to think that maybe one day I wouldn't have the bandwidth to do that anymore. Their mistake, not mine. And I've never closed the gap and I couldn't be more grateful. So
It's a sense of, mm,
there's so much good in what
yeah.
you might imagine there can never be good in.
Yes, and there's a sense of liberation, right? Sometimes when
Yes,
you cut that cord, you are free now. And yes, freedom comes with some residue of grief, of course, but
sure.
you are free now. You accept things for what they are, and now you can look forward. Again, as I said, you haven't met all the people that will love you and treat you well. So don't allow a small group, even or not, don't allow these people to take that hope,
That's
right? The
right. You
hope
don't
of
want that.
finding your
Another
people, finding your
another
tribe.
thing, yeah. Another thing I think, and I don't know, I'm a huge music lover because music got me through a lot of my life in times when I
Oh yeah.
needed some validation I didn't get. But Tracy Chapman's Revolution,
Hmm.
one of my
Yeah.
top tier songs. You know, I used to listen to that when I was still, I tried low contact, I tried cordial contact, and I would remind myself to listen to that song on the way to any family event. Like, I don't need to go, I'm starting a revolution. If it goes bad, then I leave. You know, you got to have things like Maya Angelou. I have a tattoo of stand something like go forth alone and stand as 10,000. Right, I
Mm,
have a tattoo of it. I have I rise on my arm. So there
yeah.
are things and signs and signals that you can give yourself that are very grounding. Music is one of those things too. Like pump yourself up before you go to these places, or find a song that's very grounding for you, because you
Yeah.
have not met all the people that are here to love you in this life. Uh, and be empowered in your choices to have distance. It says that you're self-respecting. And when you have distance from others, you create room in your life for the new to come in.
Yes, absolutely. Well said. Well said. Um, the next thing is, how can people maintain self care, excuse me, in healthy connections during the holiday season? So we definitely want you to have your connection and have a wonderful holiday season. So how can people maintain that?
I think really reminding yourself, I see a lot of pain sit on across from me on the couch in my office, especially during the holidays. It, for many people, makes them feel very alone. It makes them feel the estrangement a little more intensely. That's all fair and good. I understand it. But it is what it is.
Yep,
And we have to be able and willing to have a radical acceptance around that it is what it is. So now what?
it is.
Always give yourself opportunity. Yes, this is what it is. You can spend your time there. You can give it its space in your day. But then now what?
Yeah.
Now what? What's your opportunity that you're going to create?
Thank you. And there's a few things I wanted to add in regards, and please add to this as well, Dr. Campbell. So um, I just want to give some tips for navigating the holidays, um, and maintaining your mental well-being. So the first thing I want to say is, understand holiday stress with realistic expectations. Okay,
Yes.
so you have autonomy. You have the ability to choose what is right for you. And sometimes that may look like, you're invited to a holiday gathering and you either choose to engage or you choose not to engage, you know. And if you choose to engage, set boundaries for what works for you. You can choose to possibly even do something virtually. So if you don't feel comfortable being in the environment, FaceTime the people during the holiday. Like you can still
Perfect.
show up virtually.
Yep.
um, Also, like Dr. Campbell said, maybe you need to set a time. I'll be here for 30 minutes, an hour, and I'm out of here. Okay. If you need to gathering, if you do attend the gathering and you notice people are not behaving in a way that's conducive to a peaceful holiday, tell yourself that's their choice, because it is. You know, people have a right to behave how they want to behave, but you have a right to adjust your access to that behavior. Okay.
Mhm.
Another thing I want to say is, if you are hosting a gathering, you can choose who you want to invite and who you don't want to invite. These are your terms. This is your space. So, you know, your well being as a host is just as important as the guest. So be
Mm.
selective. In healthy families, bonds are not just defined by your proximity or compliance.
That's
It's
right.
also rooted in respect for your choices and decisions, even if they don't agree. So again, you determine what people are best in your space, and that's okay. Um, with finances, create a budget and buy gifts that are budget friendly, because you know at
Yes.
the end of the day, that bill is coming in your name. That's it's coming to you. Okay. In regards to focusing on your physical health and nutrition, you know, make sure you're getting enough sleep,
Yes.
exercising, having
Yeah.
a well balanced diet. And then for coping with loneliness and grief, um, stay connected to people who give you a sense of ease and support. If you're grieving, something that makes it worse is to be in spaces where there's tension, because that adds to the distress that you're already feeling. If you know someone that's grieving, check on them. You can, call them, FaceTime them, or if you do call and ask, is it okay for me to come visit you, or for us to meet up and probably go out to lunch or something like that? But check on those who you know who are grieving. And I'm gonna slide this over to you, Dr. Campbell. Embracing joy and gratitude. What tips would you give to the audience about embracing joy and gratitude?
I think that there's good in everything in some space if you want it to be there, right? I'm kind of a believer that nothing is a coincidence. It doesn't mean that, um, you know, had you been molested or physically abused or any that those things were meant to happen, but they did happen. So you're meant to do something with it,
Yeah.
right? I think that there's got to be a way to look uh, at life from an existential space where you can find the meaning in your suffering. If you are just going to suffer over your own suffering, you're never going to get better. You've got to find the meaning in the suffering. And when you find the meaning, now there is something to be grateful for because there's meaning in everything. There's two things that I ask for every day. The first thing I ask for is to increase my capacity to hold light. Okay, I want to increase. I'm not going to ask for this person to change or pray for that person to change or this to be better. I want to increase my capacity to hold the light. Okay, because the more I can hold, the more I share, right? The better I can participate in this life. And then also, I want to have certainty beyond logic. So much of what's in front of us in a toxic family, none of it's logical.
Right.
They create confusion on purpose as a method of abuse to divorce you from your rational mind so that they can feast off of all of your reactions that they're pining for. So when you don't know how something's going to work out, or you're disappointed in yourself for how you reacted, or you invited someone over that you really wish you didn't, but you felt obligated to do so, and then they ruin the party, don't get into I told you so. Have certainty beyond logic. There's a lesson in this situation. What is that? And it will all work out. All of this is going to work out. You don't need to know how it's going to work out. That's getting back into logic. You need certainty that's deeper than logic, that is bigger, that is more existential, that everything will work itself out. I am not
Yes.
special, and I know that I was able to do this. And each day I just want to increase my capacity to hold the light. I think that that keeps me safe. It also helps me to know who pulls me away from that capacity. If someone is shrinking you or needing to smash you or your light's too bright, they're not for you.
Mhm.
And you don't have to host people who aren't for you. I would rather you risk a little conflict and not invite that one person that you don't want to invite, even if you're getting pressure. How could you not invite this person? The way that you increase your capacity to hold the light is going to come through some amount of risk, right? We can't learn if we don't risk. So, taking care of you, sad as this is, when you're raised in a toxic family, is a huge risk because it pulls you away from being under their control. Take that risk. If I can encourage you to do anything, is to take that risk. Risk the conflict, it'll pass, and you'll find you.
Mm, yes. And just to add with gratitude, gratitude gives comfort.
Yes.
It gives comfort to your nervous system. Um, and during this time of the year, with all the things that can stress you out, bringing a calm moment to your nervous system is so important. One thing,
Gratitude also brings perspective.
yeah,
Gratitude also brings perspective. It brings in a different look at something that might feel bad. So just wanted to add that for a minute.
absolutely. And with gratitude, one thing that you can do to exercise gratitude during the holiday season is get a jar. Have a gratitude jar.
Hmm.
And every day, write down something that you're grateful for and put it in that jar during the holiday season. You know, just to give yourself that moment to appreciate what is going right, what didn't go wrong that could have went wrong, you know. So create that space to sit in some gratitude. Okay. Another thing, seek support. So there are local programs and also professionals during the holiday season that you might need to connect with, whether that's clergy, a sponsor, a mentor, a therapist, a life coach, a doctor. If you are experiencing any form of a crisis, mental health related crisis, you can dial 988. And if you need to find local resources and programs, you can dial 211 in the United States, and the operator can connect you to different services in your area. Last but not least, giving back. You know, it does something that is invaluable when you are able to give back and help others. So, this also helps your community. And now more than ever, we need to be able to contribute to those in our community that need support and help. So, you can do this by donating or volunteering your time or your resources just to uplift someone else. Um, so, I have one last question, Dr. Campbell. And this question is, what is your favorite holiday memory with the family you have now?
The family I have now,
Yes.
uh, every year, my favorite memory is Thanksgiving with my daughter and I. We wake up in the morning, we go to Whole Foods, and we get a feast from Whole Foods. So I'm not laboring, I'm not cooking, I work very, very hard. And then we watch Christmas movies all day and we put up our tree. And it's just her and me. I don't go to my boyfriend's family. We don't go anywhere. It's just her and I. And we do it every year. And it's the day of the year I look forward to the most because I am creating something in my life I never had. And it's a really beautiful feeling to have such a loving and connected relationship with my daughter and to know that I stopped that generational trauma from entering into her. One other coping skill, however, that I would add to gratitude is find the humor. Watch movies like Christmas Vacation.
Uh
Watch
oh.
the Fockers. Like watch movies where you're not alone. You're not the only person in a crazy family. Find the funny. Find the
Yeah.
funny because if you step back, it's so ridiculous that there can be some humor in it, right? So find the funny. I would encourage that as a skill set.
Wow. Well, we are at the end of this episode. I want to thank Dr. Campbell for her time and her insight. I hope you all got something out of this. Please go out there and have the most amazing holiday season for yourself, but also, you know, give back also to someone else, and make the best out of this time of the year. Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you again when we go to the other side. Thank you.